Good afternoon. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing one. Testing one. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Good afternoon. This is your host, Michael J. Long, host of Michael's Libertarian Pizza Party at 6:12 p.m. on this great Friday evening of October 14th, 2022. And thank you so much for joining me, guys. I truly and sincerely appreciate it. Well, I want to talk to you guys today about something. Well, for many of you guys that have listened to me for many of these eon years, you know that I am a libertarian. So that means, but the question that some of you guys might have, Michael, we haven't had, because here's the deal. I want to get as many libertarians elected as possible at the local, state, county levels, right? No doubt about that. And I also want to get libertarians elected at the federal level, and most specifically, not only Congress, but the presidency as well. And I think all that can be achieved. Uh, but whether or not it happens in our lifetime, well, I guess that all depends on how long it takes to motivate a whole flock of independents, right? Because I think a few years ago they released statistics that came out, and I can't remember off the top of my head who or what these statistics stated. I'm not sure where these sources come from. I'm not sure where this particular source came from. Um, but I'm going to wing it out here. So, with presidential politics alone, right? When you consider the Democrats and the Republicans nationally, right? They have they most presidential elections are won by a margin about 45 to 50%, right? Now that means you have 25% that are of the people who vote for the Democratic Party, of all the people that vote for the Democratic Party and the Liberal Democratic Party, whatever, right? That amounts to 25% of the vote altogether, right? Within the Democratic Party, among those that are Liberal Democrats that vote. And then you have the Republican Party, the GOP, the grand old party, right, that never does anything, and except grow the government just as much as the Democrats do and pretend that they're going to conserve a certain portion of it, right? And their supporters, you want to know how many of them vote? Well, let's see, 25%, right? So you guess some of you guys might be saying to you, asking yourselves, well, Michael, all right, so you're telling me that the amount of Republicans that vote in this country in presidential elections alone are 25%, and that the amount of liberal Democrats that vote for the Liberal Democratic Party is 25%? Yep, I sure am. Yes, I am. So then you might be asking yourselves, well, then how come they keep winning? There's a simple factor to this equation. Are you ready for the big surprise? Drum roll, please. That's right, the independents, the vast majority of which are moderate independents or centrists, and many of others who are either conservative or liberal or somewhere in between the center left and the center right, right? And, some of whom might be libertarians, right? But overall, the independents deciding between left and right determine. So, in other words, if the Republicans can get more independents on their side to vote for them, guess who wins on the presidential level? That's right, Trump or whoever the Republican Party nominates, right? Same with the Liberal Democratic Party. If they get more independents to side with them, then Biden or whoever is the Liberal Democratic nominee for the president, he gets in, he or she or whatever. So, and then if you take a look at the 25% of the people that vote Republican, right? There's only 5 or 10% that are core supporters that are going to vote for the Republican Party no matter what. And there's a core supporters of within 5 or 10%, maybe 15% among liberal Democrats that are probably going to vote for the Liberal Democratic Party no matter what. And so, what does this mean? This means very simply that they're using one of the ways that they're winning is at the presidential level and in getting elected in Congress and all that is by pawning independence because they themselves lack the support and the base of operations to win. They lack the support, let me repeat, they lack the support and they don't have as big of a core audience that believes in what they believe. So they can't win with just their party base alone, right? They have to court independence. So one of the ways they do this is by simply stating is by simply propagating propaganda, right? So they'll do this in the media and they get their media pundits to agree with them. So Republicans will regularly appear more often than they do on the liberal side of the mainstream media, on platforms like Fox News, Fox Business, Fox News, Fox Business, One American News, Newsmax, so on and so forth, right? And all these other major conservative TV stations, radio outlets, and publications. Same with the liberal Democrats appealing to their think tanks within the mainstream media as well, like CNN, MSNBC, whatever, right? So between them and the people who support them in the media, right, they'll sit there and say, okay, for the Republicans, for example, they'll sit there and say, if you vote for a third party, you'll split the vote from the Republicans and the Democrats will win. And if you don't like the Democrats, you better vote for us. That's what they're telling you, right? In other words, you can't vote third party. You're not allowed. That's not allowed, right? That's what they're telling you. And then the liberal Democrats, guess what they're doing to pawn independence? Oh, you can't vote third party. You'll split the votes from the Democrats, and the Republicans will win. So they both have gotten together and they both pawn independence like it's a race, right? And I'm here to tell you that if the vast majority of independents actually voted for the Libertarian Party alone, and more people got out and voted, with the presidential race alone, the Libertarian Party would win in a heartbeat. Now, when you trickle this down to just about any other position, right? The Congress, the state legislators, right? And you portion it out to the population, yeah, it's a lot of libertarians that win there are many libertarians that have won at the local level, and many former Republicans that have switched over, same with the Liberal Democrats, to the Libertarian Party, right? And so, yeah, there's a lot of people that have switched over their party affiliations, elected officials that is, to the Libertarian Party. And there's a lot of people who've gotten elected on behalf of the Libertarian Party. We have a winning rate at the local and county level of about 50% nationwide. And a party like that, the Libertarian Party, right? We would win the presidential cycle in a heartbeat in any given presidential cycle if the majority of independents voted for us, and if the vast majority of independents, and counting that the vast majority of them got out and voted, and the vast majority of independents actually voted for us, right? So that's the key. That's one of many ways where we can win is by understanding our opponents. Our political opponents, understanding how they win, understanding the system that they've created for us, which relies heavily on getting independents elected. Now they know that they can't have that. They can't have the vast majority of independents supporting and or voting for the Libertarian Party if they wish to win, which is a huge reason why they've financially gapped or cut our finances, right? Or limit how much we can raise and donate to our given political third parties including the Libertarian Party, right? Because I'm a Libertarian, right? And this explains why they try to take us off of the ballot, kick us off of the ballot in many states throughout the country, and especially given that here in New York, uh, we got matching funds that are going to support via our tax dollars the Democratic and Republican candidates. Republicans getting about 10 million of it. The Democratic candidates, if they raise a certain portion, will also get 20 million of our tax dollars, right? And they don't want us libertarians in on the game at the state level, right? And it's very clear that at the national level, same thing, right? Almost. Well, very identical, but the point is, if they can make it extremely hard for us to get on the ballot and then extremely hard for us to maintain ballot access, and if they can make it as difficult as possible, right? Because they're smart, right? They know that if they take us off the ballot, we're going to turn around and try to fight all these lawsuits, file all these lawsuits, right, to try to get back on the ballot, and we have to have a lot of money to do that. But in order to get media coverage to court independence, you have to buy all the major polls, right? And on top of that, you because it's all pay to play, you have to have a lot of money, you have to have a lot of donors. That's why they cut our finances off and the amount, or cap us at the amount that a given person can donate to a third party, while they can receive unlimited amounts, right? You know? And so they cap us, they kick us off the ballot because they know we're going to interchangeably try to fight to get back on the ballot. And that's money and time that we could have spent either that we could have spent trying to buy polls and to garner media attention, because that's how you get media attention, is you have to buy polls, you have to buy ads, not only newspaper ads, but TV ads, radio ads, social media ads. Now, TV ads will cost you $1 million alone for one TV ad. So you have to have millions to run an enormous amount of TV and radio ads, right? Then you have to buy polls to get into debates and, you know, to garner the independence and making it clear that we are a viable candidate. And how can we do that when we have to turn around and fend off legal challenges or file lawsuits to try to stay on the ballot? You see what I'm saying? So if we're spending that same amount of money on trying to get on the ballot or trying to protect our ballot access, that takes away from our campaigning, and that puts them one step ahead of the eight ball here, which is another reason why they're able to win over and over and over and be able to propagate their propaganda and be able to, lie to the masses and say, well, this or that, right? William Geen, the chairman of the Americans for Legal Immigration, that organization, right? He's trying to say, well, the Libertarian Party is not ever gonna win, is not because it's not popular, its views are not popular, and I would question that if that is his way of thinking. How come the Republican Party can't rely on their own base to get elected? They're consistently courting independence. And that tells you everything you need to know about the Republican Party, right? Is that they need to get independence to win, and the same is true with the Liberal Democratic Party. They're both in it to win, to cheat in that sense. And we have to ask ourselves, right? Every time they've gotten in, have they ever done anything to reduce the size of the federal government and get the government out of the way and end prohibition so that people can live their lives the way they want and not the way government wants them to live their lives? Have we ever asked ourselves, is this how we want to live? Do we want to live by having government tell us how we can do business, how we can teach our children, and how we can live our lives? Or do we want an alternate approach that says, we can be free at last? That's really what freedom's about. It's not about, okay, let's get the Republican Party in so we can conserve bad government or big government, if you will, right? It's more about what can we do to empower the individuals to make their own decisions without government or with as very little government as possible. And quite frankly, as a minarchist, I would argue that there's always going to be a role for government, primarily to provide courts to settle disputes, to provide peace officers to keep the peace, whatnot. But that doesn't mean that our rights to self-defense should therefore be taken away. It doesn't mean that our rights to decide for ourselves what we choose to put in our own bodies and how we should live our lives should be restricted by that of government, a lot of which has continued with the Republican Party and the Liberal Democratic Party, right? Both of them have grown the size of the federal government dramatically over the years, all while claiming the other did it or the other is bad, right? So if you can answer that simple question, that's your guide for what party you should vote for. And this is why, if you support freedom, you should vote for the Libertarian Party, regardless of the system's diversionary tactics that they pin upon against us. Remember, folks, unity is the key to success. Division is the key to failure. Remember that. All right. So, I'm Michael J. Long, host of Michael's Libertarian Pizza Party. It's a wonderful evening day. I'm sure the weather will be nice tomorrow, too. And thank you for joining me. As always, again, thank you for joining me. I truly and sincerely appreciate it, guys. I really do. And if you haven't already done so, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the notification bell and then select all, and then that way you'll be notified of any future video contents and live streams that I do. And you can also look me up on anchor.fm/Michael J. Long and play my recent podcasts and whatnot. And, of course, I could always use more subscribers, more support, and please watch my videos, like, comment, share. Really matters. All right, thanks. Thank you for joining me. I truly and sincerely appreciate it, guys. Thank you.